Hi, Helen.
Hello.
Welcome. Hello.
Hello. No, I tell you, that's an Irish accent. We say hello.
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 Hello. Everyone, welcome. Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hello and welcome to the Empire Builders Masterclass interview with Helen Bullen. And as you could probably tell right off the bat, we are very chummy. Do we use the word chummy?
Yes, you can use chummy if you like.
Chummy.
Or
Yes.
friendly.
Friendly. We are friendly friends. And I have the honor and pleasure of working with Helen as her mentor in the Empire Builders Mastermind. And we have been around each other, known each other for quite a number of years now. And I've watched you on this amazing journey that you're on, watched you and admired you. And today we're going to talk about how to achieve what it is that we want in our lives, in our businesses, in our relationships, in our physical bodies, all the things. And you are someone who, and one of the very few, in my opinion, who walks her talk, who actually says they're going to do something. And then 15 minutes later, I'm like, wait, what just happened? She just completely did that. Regardless, and this is the fine print, right? Regardless of what's going on in your world. And
yeah,
so
definitely.
And that was before cancer, and it's after cancer. And I think it's just such an inspiration for anyone who gets to connect with you. And so I'm honored to not only work with you in all the ways, but also just to have this conversation, because I know someone's going to watch it and they're going to have a light bulb moment.
And that would be great. That would make my day. If there's light bulb moments, we are both happy, aren't we? You know, that's the big thing.
Yes, 100%. So before we dive into how people can achieve what it is that they want, give us the 3 minutes on who is Helen Bullen. What's your background? What are your businesses? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? Can you do that in 3 minutes? Go.
Well, we'll give it a go. On your marks, get set, go. Well, I'm a retired osteopath by trade. I used to have a big clinic. And the reason I became a business mentor is because lots of people said to me, how are you doing that so well? Lockdown came, cut a long story short, and I decided to retire from being a manual osteopath and go all in on the business mentoring. Now, when I say all in, I probably work 3 days a week. I work when I want to, with who I want to. And we know we're both into that sort of work. So, and then I started mentoring. I'm also a teacher, so it sort of came naturally. But I'm also, and I didn't realize until I went onto a retreat with a mentor that I had, who we went to Thailand. It was really tough in Thailand. And suddenly I said to him, I'm really frustrated because I'm teaching people all the things that you need to know for a business. So websites, social media, blah, 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 but they don't do it. And he was like, well, you do more than that. And it took me a little while. And then he sent me to a very white beach with blue sea. Really tough, this story. So I went down to the beach, sat on the beach, and I was like, well, what do I do? And it wasn't really till then that I realized I'm a natural action taker. If I want to do something, I do it. But I also realized I put lots of things in place to do that. I don't just have a kit bag of business tools. I suddenly realized I looked after my health and wellness. I knew that I had to have a good mindset, etc. And I had to sit my butt down and do things. And so I think that's when I really started to grow with my business mentoring, was when I realized it's not as simple, because we could all Google, couldn't we, how to run a business, what do you need, the 5 things you need, whatever. Of course. But around that is the thing that you don't believe you're good enough, or you or somebody else said you couldn't, or you don't believe you can, or you just tell yourself you're a procrastinator, all those little stories that we tell ourselves. So that's really why I got into the business mentoring, and I love mentoring that way. I actually don't like just teaching people the tools. I've got the tools and I can teach them, but it doesn't actually work. And online right now, I'm probably where I get a bee in my bonnet is there's a lot of people just teaching the tools without the other bit around the side, and it just doesn't work. Or talking about having a really good business, but nobody mentions your life, or having a really great life, but nobody mentions the job you hate. I just see it, you know, commit to achieve anything you want. So the first time I did it, I was in a spin class, funny, if you know, I like my exercise. And there was there was a competition, and you're ranked by your weight, your height, whatever. So you get the same sort of points. It's done on a, what do they do in golf? They do it on a handicap type system. So
Okay.
in a lesson, you could get about 300. And I was about 4 days late starting this challenge. And somebody said to me, oh, I suppose you won't do it now because so-and-so's ahead of you.
I
Well,
don't know who they're talking to.
just waved that red flag. So
That's
I was
right.
like, So all I did was like I would do in business. I was like, well, this is the length of the month. These are the amount of days I've got. These are the points I can get. These are the points she's ahead of me. So I need to do a couple extra every time. I can
Yeah.
track her on the system.
Right.
And I won it. And in fact, I won it 3 years running. Everybody hated me by the time, because I just thought, well, I'll spin more than you will. It's just easy. And then I realized that when I decide to do something, I do it. And there is a whole cascade. And that's why I wrote the course, really, and how I've always done things. I'm probably very annoying, if I'm honest, Honoree, that I'm a bit like a puppy that hasn't been exercised on occasions. And I am kindly blunt. You know that I have a podcast called Kindly Blunt.
Yes.
I'm straight talking. And sometimes we all need that, don't they? We need that person to say, you have to do this bit because it needs doing, or you need to outsource it because it needs doing. But you need to sit your butt down and do it. You know, we can't all avoid our tax returns. Do you call it a tax return in the US?
Oh, we sure do.
Oh, you do. You can't ignore those. You can't ignore them in the UK either. So there
You
are
can,
well,
but you don't
yes,
want
you
to.
can here too, but you don't
Yeah.
want to because there's a lot of
Yeah.
trouble involved in that.
That's
So
right.
yeah, that's really my story where I came to. And then obviously in 2021, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. Complete surprise. So let me urge anybody, if you get offered a test, go and have it done. Or if you've got any symptoms you think aren't right, just go and get seen. I had no idea. It was a routine appointment. And then all of a sudden my world changed. And you very kindly helped me. I had quite a few people that stepped in to help with my business world, but I did manage to keep it running. And I'm proud of that because I didn't just give up. And there were days that I couldn't do anything. Believe me, chemo is tough. But I approached that the same way I do everything. I was like, well, what are the steps I need to do? What are the targets I need to reach? And if there was a little blip where maybe 1 week I couldn't have chemo because I was too poorly, okay, we'll go back a week. Now, can I redo it? Just like you would anything. So I just seem to approach everything, whether it's fitness, whether it's work, whether it's keeping myself well, in the same way. And the other thing you will know from Honoree, which you know, she's known me from hair down to here, to nothing, to now grown to here, haven't you? All the hairstyles.
That's right. That's right.
You're
You're just
growing
trying
out,
them all
please.
to see which
Yeah.
one you like. I think
I'm
it's
just trying
good.
to-
I think it's
yeah.
good. And I like that you keep your wits about you and keep yourself about you. I think the thing that is between the commit and the achieve is the belief.
Definitely. So one
And
of the
if you
modules
don't
is
believe it, you can't achieve it.
yeah, and I think I have you as my mentor because we all need support with that. So I know that you work with me about that. So it's not I'm infallible to it and I never have that. You know, Honoree could tell you all sorts of stories about our meetings, but there are days
I
when
can.
I have huge belief and there's other days when I don't. So it's nice to have somebody supporting you. But
Yes.
I do believe we all have limiting beliefs, but there are ways to get around them, go under, go round, go over, make them smaller. Eliminate. We all can do that, but you sometimes just have to work out why, or what really is the underlying cause. Because I think quite often people say that there's an excuse. They put a reason. I can't do that maybe because I've got children, or I can't do that. And, you know, we've both got kids. We know it is hard. But if you really want something, you work out a way. Or you can't do something because you're worried what other people will think. And then the reality is, it's none of your business what other people think. You don't actually know what they're really thinking.
And they're probably thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you, right? I heard a saying a long time ago that you wouldn't worry so much what people were thinking about you if you knew how little they were. They're so not concerned.
No, and if it's somebody
so concerned about how you see them that they're not worried about. Yeah, you're worried about how they see you. It's interesting, right?
But it's interesting how the human brain works, isn't it? We spend more time worrying about that than we do actually getting on and sometimes achieving what we want to achieve. Where most people, when you do start committing to what you want to achieve, start to admire you. That's what they think about you. I get so many messages from people. It's inspiring, it's motivating. That's not my purpose for doing it. But I don't know they're thinking that. I might be thinking, oh, they think I'm on Facebook again, or I'm on social media. But they're not. And if anybody is nasty, then there's normally something going on in their world. It's not about you either. It's
Nope.
about them and their world. So,
No.
and I
Yeah.
think for a lot of business owners, it's like a brick wall for a lot of people, that they want to do something, but they don't quite want to put themselves out there. And, we can all have a business with something to sell, even if it's the best product. If nobody knows about it, you don't stand a
Right.
chance. You
Right.
don't stand a chance. And I know you talk about it. You can pick the way you want to market your business. You don't have to do what somebody says you have to do, but you do have to do something that
Right.
feels good to you and feels right. You can't just say, oh no, I don't, well, how does anybody know about you? We have different ways of marketing. I'm very much on social media. You're on social media too. You're teaching me things like, being in person and sending people nice notes. And I love all that. You're definitely
Yeah.
teaching me that. But it's
Yeah.
worth connecting, isn't it? I think
Yes.
connections are what we need to do. And probably
Yeah.
building up enough people around you that I call radiators, that will support you. And that's what's great about being in the mastermind.
Yeah.
Everybody there is supporting you. And when you tell you've got an idea or you're doing something, half a dozen people will email you and say, well, I've got this idea, or could I help you this? Or
Yeah.
so I think growing your radiators, and those that I tend to call drains, don't expect everybody to love talking about your business. I learned, it took me ages to learn that some people will never understand that I run my own business. A lot of people think my husband runs my business. When I had a bricks and mortar
Right.
business,
Right.
he came and sat in. I did a couple of hours one evening a week. I didn't used to pay him. I used to say, come and sit on my reception desk. And everybody that came in then thought he ran the business. Very weird how,
So interesting. Yes.
yeah, very
Fascinating.
interesting.
It's
But I
okay.
guess,
I think you're touching on something that's important to point out, which is you want to surround yourself with people that are your people,
yeah,
right?
your
Like, so
people.
I'm the book person. And so the first thing that, like we talk about we being me and anyone that I meet is I'll ask them, are you a reader?
Yeah,
And if they
yeah,
say yes, I say, what do you read? I want to know what they read because
yeah,
I'm not a science fiction author, right? And so I don't
yet,
try to
yet,
talk about,
yet.
no, not science fiction. Fiction, yes, but science
But not
fiction,
science fiction.
no. That wouldn't be the thing that I would prefer to write. But I don't talk about books to people that aren't readers. And I don't talk about nonfiction books to people who are only fiction readers.
Yeah,
But I do talk about the nitty gritty. I was actually at a book thing yesterday and having a conversation with someone, and they were like, this really granular conversation. And it was about like one small thing about books. And then she was like, oh my gosh, thank you for talking about this really granular thing about books that I really, there's only a few people that you can really go deep with.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what I'm saying is you got to find your people. And when you
yeah,
find
definitely.
people, then you can fill your cup with talking about the things, right?
Yeah, no,
And
definitely. Once
yeah,
you've got those people around you, and it doesn't have to be many, does it? I mean, I love having loads, but you don't
yeah,
have to have many. You can have 2 or 3. For
right,
me as well, it was learning not to expect from people that didn't run their own business, for them to
right,
understand the mentality of running your own business, and not to get
right.
cross with them, but irritated that they didn't understand my journey. Actually, I just talk about other things. So I'm happy to talk about, I don't know, where I go on
Right.
holiday, things like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
exactly.
change who I'm talking to. But I think you can get very put off when somebody, remember, both my parents weren't self-employed. My mum was a teacher, my dad worked for the local government, jobs for life with a pension, don't really understand me, but it's fine because I don't need to talk business to them. But
Right,
in the beginning, I wanted them
right,
to understand me, but of course they couldn't, because they
right.
wanted me to
And
have
that's okay.
that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. But we sometimes get put off by what people tell us when they actually haven't got any experience of running a business. And that's why it's important to get the right people. So if
Yeah.
we're having a discussion, I know I can trust your point of view because you get it.
Yes. And also then something else I think that's important that feeds into the commit, believe, achieve, right? Is that when you're getting someone's opinion, you wouldn't ask someone who's never been a successful entrepreneur their opinion about something to do with your business. And so you've got
Yeah.
to believe in yourself. And also it's important to have people around you who believe in you, who also understand what you're doing. And then we all have those people in our lives who don't truly understand either what it is that we do or how we do it or what's going on, but they love and support us.
Yeah.
And I kind of tune out everybody else. I remember when I released my first book, I sent it to one of my friends and her husband was like, who's Honoree to write a book?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't take offense to it because he just we did not have the relationship where he understood me and my vision for myself and what I was doing. I didn't get upset with him. I like your word. I wasn't cross with him. I didn't even speak to him. It was my friend who said, my husband said this about you. And I thought, well, he just doesn't know. But I think sometimes some people would say, well, who is Honoree or who is Helen to do this? But they don't have all the information. And so we can't give them all the weight of their opinion either.
No, and if you do, it's a dangerous game to play because that's when you
Right.
get stopped. So if you'd
Right.
listened to him, if you'd have taken credit and thought, well, who am I? It could have meant
Right.
your career could have been completely different. You may never have written another book. And I think that's
Right.
what's important is make your own decisions and surround yourself with the right people. And actually it becomes a lot easier. And the belief is easier. And you've got people that can fuel it if you need it a little bit, or
Right.
tell you. And I also think when you get somebody that you're really attuned with, when you ask them a question, you believe them. If they say, actually, have you thought that through? I quite like that too, but only with the people that I really believe in, that have done it, been there, done it, got the t-shirt type thing. Yeah.
Yes. So one of the reasons I find you so incredibly inspiring is that as we're building our empires and as we're growing our businesses, life happens. And so you had a big life happen in early 2021. And what you didn't do was give up. What you didn't do was say, oh, I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm a retired osteopath. I'm going to be a retired mentor. And you kept putting one foot in front of the other. So you have this mastermind that's amazing. You've got your mentoring that you do for people. And then you created this course. That's what I think courses can sometimes be this amazing transformational opportunity for the person that takes the course. And it's also kind of a window of insight into the instructor of the course, which I know your course Commit to Achieve is. And so I would love for you to talk about the journey that someone goes on when they take your course, because I think it's an opportunity for people to spend some time with you and to get to know you. And also the fun part of it is they get to have this transformational situation where they go from, I have something I want to do, I need to commit to it. What does that look like? And I want to achieve it. And how do I get there? And so talk us through how the course came to be. What was the idea behind the course? And then tell us about it. And then also, what do you hear? What's the word on the street after people have gone through it?
So I suppose the course was written really from that inkling that people didn't just do it when you gave them the theory. There was more to it. And when I looked into what I did, so I look after what I call care of self in the course. And it's not by no means is it a fitness course, but I always say to people, get out the door for 10 minutes. And I am a retired osteopath, so I can tell you on good ground that moving your body is good for your physiology, for your mindset, for everything. If you can get out and see a sunrise or a sunset, even better. So 10 minutes every day is the minimum. And just don't say, I wonder if I can do it 7 days a week. Just go, I'm going to do it 7 days a week. That's how I sort of, sometimes you have to just say, that's what happens. And everybody can make 10 minutes out of their day. Maybe you do it 5 days, whatever you want to do. I also talk about mindset, and I love the Miracle Morning. So I love all that series, and I know you're involved with part of that as well. But and I know you and I both have an early morning routine. I don't say people have to get up early, but it is secret time. So I encourage people to try it, give it a go, see what you can get done in the morning. I like journaling. I like affirmations, getting my exercise done. I actually like clearing away my dishwasher first thing in the morning, but it's a job that's done. And it's like, it's part of my waking up. I go and do the dishwasher, I pack it away. I'm normally listening to a positive podcast as I do it. So there's a double whammy in there. My cup of coffee is brewing, as you know, that's important to my early morning routine. So that was part of it. And I've done that for years. And I don't even set an alarm now. I fairly much get up 5:30 most mornings. So doing that makes the time feel special, and you get ahead of the day. So talking about those sort of things, definitely talking about taking time off. A lot of business owners and I know you work with us like this, but they put in their diary all the things they've got to do, but then they suddenly go, well, I haven't taken a holiday. And I know you're an advocate of this as well. Put your holidays in first. When are you going to take days off? What
That's
days
right.
do you work?
That's right.
Let's get that
That's right.
settled first, because everything else will work around it. And once you get that, and I hate using the term work-life balance because you should enjoy it both. But if you're working, you should have some time that you can go and enjoy life as well. You know, working is enjoyable, but so is life. So you should be able to do both. So we talk
Right.
about care of self, and it's not as I said, it's not like doing a gym program, but I will remind you and say, just eat food that looks like it should do. We all know what we should and we shouldn't eat. And if you fuel yourself, again, from osteopathic background, you will feel better. A potato looks
Right.
like a potato. A crisp does not really look like a potato anymore. It's those sort of things. Drink water. You know, if you drink alcohol, just drink it at the weekends. Be mindful. Enjoy it. If you have a cake, have a cake, but be mindful. So it's all that sort of stuff. And I think we underestimate the ability to run a business when you feel good. I know when I'm on my fitness, my
Oh, for
eating,
sure.
running a
Yes.
business is so much easier than if you're filling yourself or fueling yourself with too much caffeine, too much sugar. Actually, everything's hard work. Everything's hard. And we sometimes don't realize it because we're in it. But quite often that's a big revelation for people, that they start to think, oh, wow,
Yeah.
I feel great. Because you're the engine of your business. And if it was a car, you would not put the old petrol you put in a lawnmower into your Formula One racing car. You would just not would do it. So why do we do it with our bodies that are far more amazing than a racing car? So we talk about that. We talk about knowing your why. I think it's important to have a reason why you do things. And, you know, mine has changed. When I started, I had 2 young kids, newly divorced, no money, never had any money or child maintenance. I had to make money to pay rent. That's quite a good motivator. So I
Yes.
quickly learned business,
Yes.
good
They
motivator.
like to eat every day, those
Yeah,
children.
eat every day. They also still want to do the dance classes, the swimming. I didn't want to change things. A lot of pressure, but I did it. And I took on a second job at one point because that's what I had to do. But now my why is more, I want to go on holiday. When can I come and see Honoree?
Right.
Can I go to a beach? Can I, where can I work in the world at the same time? So, you know, my why has changed. And I think it's important to make sure you've got a why, because it's a great push. So we talk about your why. And with that then comes goals and targets. And you can call them what you like. I know some people don't like goals, don't like targets, but you sort of like having a map. You need to know where you're trying to get to. You can take a different route. You can go a different way.
Right.
To know where you're going. So we look at goals and targets, and then we definitely talk about the action needed to get to those goals. Because a goal really is a dream if you don't do anything about it. You can set as many goals as you like.
Right. That's right.
If you don't do it, it's like how many people I bet say to you, oh, I've always wanted to write a book. Then you speak to them 3 years later.
All
And
of
they
them, every single person. I'm probably going to go somewhere today. I'm speaking
Yeah.
somewhere today, and I bet you 10 people are going to say, I want to write a book, or their parent will say, I want to write a book.
So
100%.
that's what this course is about, is trying to get you from that, being that person that says, I want to do something, to I want to do something. How do I do it? What's the action I need? Oh, I've done it. Fantastic. What's the next thing I want to do?
Yes.
So we talk about knowing your goals and targets. Then we talk about limiting beliefs, releasing limiting beliefs. And we've spoken about that already. It's so important to not have any barriers in the way, because that is hard running a business too. But believe me, when you look at your health and wellness, you start to have less limiting beliefs because you feel good about yourself. Everything seems to drop into place.
I was thinking that as you were talking, that as you start to do something, and I've realized this in my fitness journey recently, is that I used to want the workout to be over. I used to just like, I'm just putting in my time. And as I get stronger, I'm like, I'm going to make the most out of this rep. Rep that I'm doing. This is my time that I'm giving myself, and I'm enjoying how strong I get. It's a recent mindset shift. I've always been a worker outer, Helen. This is how we connected. I've always put in my time. It's like going to the gym or doing a workout. That's my time in the morning. It's non-negotiable. But now I'm like, I could never have done this exercise with this heavy of a weight. With perfect form, and enjoyed the process. And it's because I just kept doing it. And then I realized, hey, you're making progress. You're so bad at this, right? It's like a lot of people, you know, at a certain age kind of go, oh, I'm just declining. I'm going to, you know, but I've decided that that's not what I'm going to do. No. Right. It's just my, you know, I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm just thinking like, I don't want to get weaker and less flexible and less fit. I want to get better. I want to continue to improve, and I'm continuing to improve. And so I've decided to really just take joy in the fact that I am doing it. I'm able to do it. I'm continuing to do it. And that's a recent thing. But I was thinking, like, how we give ourselves confidence is trying something.
Yeah.
And whether we win some or we learn some, we've made progress. And it's that
And
progress
is the word. When you said progress, that is the word, isn't it? Because once you get progress and once you've achieved the first thing you want to achieve,
right,
it all gets so much easier because you sort of know the formula and you believe that you can achieve anything you want. And I think that's what the course does, is it sort of sets you up, and you can use all the principles again to go and achieve anything you want. You know, I don't really want to be a rocket. I don't want to be a space person. What do they call them? Spaceman.
yes.
Yeah.
Astronaut.
An astronaut, that'll be the word. I was like, I know it's not that.
I know.
That'll be an age thing.
I want to be a spaceman.
All I could think of was Rocket Man, and I was singing it in my head. It was like, no, that's not right.
I mean, it's Elton, obviously.
Yeah, Elton. Yeah,
Elton gave us Rocket Man. Thank you, Elton, if you're watching. We love you.
Yeah, he will be, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
And then moving on through the course, we do understand how. So I do talk about the nuts and bolts of how to market your business, talk a bit about social, how to put yourself out there, become, get yourself known by networking, all that sort of stuff. We do cover that. There's definitely a module in that. So your toolkit, so you get that. The last module is probably one of the most important. I think they're all important. They all go together. It's taking effective action. So I'm not talking about being busy. And I've already spoken. No. I work less hours than I used to work. Yeah. And like this afternoon, I'll probably finish work after I spoke to you. For me, it's going to be about 4 o'clock. That's fine. I'm starting to try and get to finish at 2 o'clock in the afternoon if I can. But it's because when I sit my butt down, I do the work that needs doing, not, oh, I fancy colouring this in. Oh, I'll have another. Let me add something on my to-do list so I can tick it off. We need to get rid of all that sort of procrastination mindset. And please don't ever tell me that they're a procrastinator. If you say it enough, you will be. But it is just a term for what you're doing. It doesn't mean, it's not a noun. It's not what you are. You just need to learn. So I know when I don't want to do something, I start to either think, oh, I could go and have another cup of coffee. Or when it's really bad, I think I could go and do the ironing, and I have a cleaner that does my ironing, Honoree. That's when it's really bad. So I laugh at myself and think, just ask, I'll say it quietly, ask Alexa to put the timer on. I sit down, I do 10 minutes and I get one job done. Pick one job. This is my to-do list today, and it's highlighted with the next job I have to do. So I don't just have a list. I highlight the next one, then I cross it through. So I focus.
Awesome. What a great
thing. Yeah, one thing, and I do it.
Tactic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just, otherwise, I'm like anybody else. An email comes in, something else flies over, your phone pings, somebody comes and taps the door, and before you know it, you're trying to do 6 things at once and you don't get anything done.
Focus is so important, and you just gave such a great tip at the beginning of this. And now as we're getting ready to wind down too, 10 minutes. So I've talked about doing Pomodoros, the Pomodoro method, which is 25 minutes. But I also think if you just do 10 minutes, if you just say, well, I just have to, I was 15 minutes before our conversation. I was like, I have 15 minutes. And I did. I was like, what could I do in these 15 minutes? This this kind of mushy time, right? It's like, I can't really dive into something, but I can cross something off of my list. And I did. And I think it feeds into, and I'd love you to talk about this for a second, is a body at rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. And so isn't it that you get out the door for 10 minutes and then you're like, well, now I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I might as well just, I've cleaned out this closet. I might as well clean out the other closet. I've written this 500 words. Let me just write another 500 words. Like once you're in it, it's just saying, I'm on the couch. I have the chips. I have the tea or the coffee. I don't really feel like doing it. And then you just go, the next commercial, I'm going to get up. This is what I do. It's not quite 10 minutes, but it's like during the commercial, I'm going to try to do something. And then once the commercials are over and the show's back on, I'm already in motion. And so I just keep being in motion. Is that something that you find is helpful?
Yeah, definitely. And the reason I chose 10 minutes, but I used to do it for my patients. The 10 minutes walking is a trick. They say, walk out for 10 minutes. If you don't like it, turn around and come back. Well, number one, that's 20 minutes they've been out for. But your mind seems to be able to, But most people would say, but I got so far and then I thought I'd carry on walking around the block because I really enjoyed it. And they do more. But the mind prefers you to say, 10 minutes, most of us can go, all right, if I've just got to do 10 minutes, I'll do it. But if I say 30 minutes, well, I haven't got 30 minutes and it's cold out there, put your shoes at the door, go. And it's the same with a task. Sometimes if you're building a website, you can't do that in 10 minutes. But if you break it into 10-minute sessions, you think, right, I'm going to sit for an hour. And every 10 minutes, I'm just going to focus on one bit of the task, researching the website. Next, I'm going to research what my branding colors are. Next, I'm going to research this. You build it up and you get it done, rather than having this big mass of things to do that is so off-putting. You go and make a cup of coffee or look for the ironing. That's what we're trying to avoid. So it's definitely a trick of the mind that 10 minutes sounds, do it for 5 minutes if you can't do 10.
I love this. I love this. I'm going to start doing the 10 minutes that leads into the 25-minute Pomodoro that leads into the finished product. So talk to us about Commit to Achieve. You've had lots of people go through this course. I mean, it's very popular. And so what do people tell you that is surprising to them after they've gone through it?
A lot of people think they just want the module that tells them how to do it. And then they're like, oh my goodness, I now get up early. And as I said, you don't have to do that, but it is something I'd encourage you to try. And I move every day now. And now I've got people that have started running, that are doing 5Ks, 10Ks. You've got people that have maybe had businesses, and I quite often in the know your why bit, I say, well, what have you got? What do you want? Where the bit in the middle is where we're going to work on. And then I didn't know that I could change things. So I think that works for a lot of people. The light bulb moments. I've had a business for X amount of years and I didn't think I could make a change. I thought this was me forever. Well, no, it's not. You might go down a similar route. You may completely change, but lots of people suddenly tweak things, make changes. They add holiday into their time. I mean, that's a bonus. And they never tell me I've lost money, because they don't, because you still get the same amount done in the time that you've got. It's Parkinson's law, isn't it? We spread ourselves into the time we're given. People, effective action, the 10-minute tasks, as I call them, people like those. And they like it that I'm a bit like, sit your butt down. And I get people to say it to themselves, just tell yourself to sit your butt down and do the job. Turn off all of the distractions and do the job. And then people come back to me and say, oh my goodness, I was avoiding this job for so long. I did it in maybe 2 lots of 10 minutes. I don't know what because now I feel so great. I can't, and especially if you do something like that first thing in the morning, that job that you don't want to do is normally the one you should put on the top of your list, because when you've done it, you're like, well, the rest of the day is fantastic.
That's right.
It's a no-brainer to work around those jobs that need doing, or you outsource it. That is the other way. I do talk about outsourcing. There are some jobs you don't like doing, you can outsource it.
That's right.
So yeah, I think that's the main thing. But mostly people come away, I think always, they come away really happy, and other things happen. They think they're coming on, it's a business course, and other things in their world change. And that's what I really enjoy. Not only their business, but everything seems to come together. And that's what people take their kids out and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, makes me very happy, Honoree.
I love it. I love it. So you can get Helen's course, Commit to Achieve, through the Empire Builders Masterclass. And so you'll find a link below this video of where. So yes, so you can also visit helenbullen.com, obviously, to connect with Helen. She is hilarious in her media videos. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the places. She's in all the places doing all the things. And she is not only funny, but she's also wicked smart. And so you're going to learn a lot from her, watching her and taking her course and connecting with her and following her and doing all the things. She makes such an incredible impact on people. And it is just a wonderful, you're a great show. You should have the Helen Bullen show. I mean, like legit.
I did it in lockdown. Funny enough, in lockdown, I did.
Yes. Well, you need to, 10 minutes every day, Helen, you need to have the Helen Bullen show. I'm gonna whip it right back around to you. So thank you for watching. Helen, thank you for being here. Pleasure. Share, click the bell if you're not subscribed so you know when new videos are coming out. Sign up for Helen's course. What have you got to lose? Well, let me ask you this. What have you got to gain? You're going to get that thing done that you have had in the back of your mind. I really want to do this. And you are just one Commit to Achieve away from making that happen. So let Helen guide you through that process, and then let her know that you took the course and tell her what you think, all the things. If you have any questions for Helen or for me, put them in the chat down below, put them in the comments down below. We'll get back to you soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for being here, Helen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Have a great day, everybody.